Hey everybody! So today I am going to be working with some of the brand new Friendship products at Brutus Monroe, including this stencil. This is called the Revival stencil. I am putting it under a sheet of black paper to show you how the stencils layer up. I do have them marked with a little Sharpie up in the corner, A, B, C, D. That makes it super easy to line up each of the stencils and have them layer to create a beautiful, beautiful background. That's what we're going to work with today. So this set of stencils is new from Brutus Monroe's Friendship release, and I will link all of the products I used in the description box below. I have a piece of Not Your Mama's cardstock. I put a stick and stamp mat to keep it in place, and then I'm going to go ahead and work through all of these stencils. I'm using one color of Distress Oxide ink. You certainly could use any color ink that you like, anything that you enjoy and like. I am doing saltwater taffy because that's just what I felt like playing with today. And what I'm going to do with each of these layers of stencil is I'm going to load my brush up really heavily with ink. I'm going to start with a fully saturated brush at the top of my card panel, and then I'm going to let that ink just run out as we get to the bottom. And I'm not going all the way to the bottom of the stencil, of the card panel. So as soon as I notice that that ink is a kind of, I'm almost out of ink, or it starts to get a little faded, I'm stopping. And then when we finish with all four of these stenciled panels, we're going to have a design that fades into the white cardstock at the bottom. This is a super simple, fun technique, and it adds another fun little thing you can do with your layered stencil. Some of the stencil is like the flower centers. I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about using all the same color on all four stencils because I am going to add my own custom center to each of the flowers. As long as the ink is nice and heavy at the top and then kind of fades into white at the bottom, that's all I'm looking for each of these layers. And as long as everything's lined up. So when I'm done with the last stencil and I pull it off, I want to make sure that everything lined up correctly. You can do this by watching, your pattern, or I chose a corner of my stick and stamp mat as the place where I was going to place the corner of each of the stencils. And that way, between that and kind of eyeballing the design, I was able to get it lined up really well. So I'm going to go ahead and take off my panel, and there it is, all finished. And you can see how it starts bright and bold with that saltwater taffy, and then it just fades away to white. I trimmed that card panel down to 3 3/4 by 5, and I'm going to set that off to the side, and now we're going to do some heat embossing and some die cutting. So I am using another of the dies from the new Friendship release. This die set is called the Hello Butterfly cutting die. This cutting die comes with this beautiful hello in just the cutest font. I love the font. And then it comes with 3 extra dies that allow you to build a butterfly. Such a cute die set. I am going to use it to cut just the hello sentiment. So I am cutting the back, the shadow layer of the hello in white cardstock. I think this is all the white cardstock. I'm almost positive. Yeah, definitely is Not Your Mama's cardstock. And then for the cardstock that cuts all the little letters for hello, I'm going to cut that in white cardstock, but I'm going to cut the letters that spell hello, I'm going to cut them 4 times. 4 times out of 130-pound Not Your Mama's cardstock, which I'm then going to stack up and layer using my Nuvo Deluxe adhesive and a Gina K stick, I think it's called a stick and pick tool. I just got this one and I really, really like it. I like the size of it. It seems to be really nice and work well. So I'm going to glue all these letters together, and I'm going to end up with super chunky little hello letters, which perfect for what we're going to do with them next. So I'm a messy crafter. I'm just throwing that out there. I just am. I'm also a clean as I go crafter. So like when I make a mess, it doesn't stick around very long. So I don't know if there's an easier way to do this, but I want to coat my hello letters in rose gold embossing powder, because rose gold embossing powder is amazing and gorgeous and stunning. And also, this didn't work, by the way. So using the stabby part of the stabby tool and kind of like trying to do it to help me get the embossing powder onto the letters, that was not a good idea. I mean, I'm showing it to you so that you know, don't do it. So what I'm going to end up doing is, all I ended up with was gook on my stabby tool or pokey tool, or I don't know. I think this is called a pick and stick tool. I think that's the real name of it. It's a Gina K pick and stick tool. I think that's the true name. Anywho, I didn't do this neatly or good. I mean, it turned out gorgeous. It's beautiful, but I made a mess. So I'm dipping each letter into embossing powder and then, or dipping each letter, pushing each letter into the embossing ink, then dipping each letter into the embossing powder, then heat setting it. And I did this multiple times, so there were multiple layers of embossing powder on those hellos. So when you do that and you put multiple layers of embossing powder onto a die cut, it doesn't look like embossing powder anymore. It looks like enamel. Like, it's beautiful. So you can put as many as like 5 or 6 layers of embossing powder on. I don't remember how many I put on for this card. Definitely more than 1, probably 3 or 4. I just kept going until I had that really nice puffy enamel look to the letters. I added the letters to the shadow layer of the hello and placed it in the bottom right section of my card front. Now I am adding some of these Easy Strips foam tape to the back of this card panel so I can put it onto a card base. And then finally, I am taking light pink flat back crystals and adding 1 crystal to the center of each of my 1 crystal to each of the flower centers. Don't ask me why I picked the crystals up with my hands instead of with the stabby tool. I don't know why I do these things. But I think I did a mixture of both. So sometimes I used the waxy side of the pick and stick tool, and then sometimes I used my fingers. Whatever made me happy at the time, I guess. Create your own ending, as Christopher Allen says, and there are no rules in card making. So once I had all of my flower centers begemmed, that's where we're going to call this card project all done. And here are all of the close-ups for today's card project. Thank you so much for joining me today. Look how gorgeous that embossing is. So cool. Have a wonderful day, everyone, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.